Hey guys, today's video is going to be about night photography and some of my favorite shots that I've taken. I'm going to talk a little bit about, what night photography, and this is going to be specifically in kind of like urban areas, um, and kind of, what the object is of it, at least if you're trying to shoot in urban areas the way I am. So I'm just going to go through a couple of my galleries here on my website, which is hspforfree.smugmug.com, and then the browse is just for this part. Um, so here is this is one of my more recent ones. This is the 17th of January. Um, so I'll just start going through some of these shots and just tell you what I like about them. So this is the first actual good shot I got. It was a little hard getting the camera. Whoops, let me get it to go. Stay back. It was a little hard getting the camera to getting it ready. I didn't bring a flash. No tripod. Oh, I had a tripod with me, but it actually stayed in the car. We intended to go get it. I was with a couple of friends. We intended to go get them after. We actually ended up never doing that. So I tried to look for stuff like this, like lighted areas going into dark. I thought this picture was kind of interesting. Just you know, kind of gave like this interesting kind of like urban night feel. Just a good picture. Um, One of the things where I was in Palo Alto, downtown Palo Alto in California, and one of the things I was trying to get is there's a lot of like old fashioned looking signs there. So I was trying to do a bunch to get the signs kind of look cool. This one I had a little bit of a problem with. It was trying to expose in the background, even though it was saying that its exposure point was in the front, and I did have spot exposure and everything turned on. Um, but I still like it. This one, so this is just like a park bench, again similar to the photo of the stairs, the light, just kind of like this urban kind of empty feel, like kind of at night how a really busy urban environment goes to kind of a not very busy environment. So this one just regular picture. There's just like a light over it, so it kind of gave it a good nice exposure, and then I shot this at f2.8, or it was either f1.4 or f2.8, depends on the lens I was using. And so it was focused, as you can see, on the very front, and then I kind of softened it so that going out of focus wasn't as extreme, I guess you could say, towards the back, but it also helped that softness help give that feel of, kind of like it being a little bit cold and empty almost. This is the wall. This is basically the same spot. All these photos are kind of in the same spot. I'll tell you when I move. But just of this wall that I guess one person started kicking, and then a lot of people other did. Lot more people did. It was just it was interesting. It was just this random white wall just standing in the middle of this kind of square. So, once again, similar to the whole night feel. Here's just my friends. Nothing big. Just that park bench again. Just trying to get some nice nighttime exposures. So this is one that I like. So another one of my those pictures before were all kind of shot away from the major part of downtown. And then once we kind of walked into it, I tried to look for really interesting like window areas, because there are a few like kind of old fashioned style uh, excuse me, stores there. So like this is this little print shop, and you can buy all the different prints. You can buy all the different prints, and you know, I think there's a printing press in the back and stuff like that. So basically, just tried to focus on the interior. A little bit of the problem was the reflection of the glass, but that's okay. And you can I wanted to get the side having all the different papers there and everything. So I like that picture. This one is a little bit more lighted, a little bit more modern-ish. Just kind of a just this like hair salon. When you get the chairs, it ended up not being as interesting as I thought, but anyway. This was actually taken right after at the print shop. For some reason, it got mixed up in the order, but just different focus point. I thought this one was kind of a little bit more interesting. I like it when for some reason, pictures kind of appeal to me when something like that kind of really pops, but then there's a lot of kind of interesting stuff going on in the background. Here's this movie theater with an old sign. Just tried to get something interesting looking with the sign. Could have put a little bit of grain on this or done something to it, maybe make it look old. But there's that. You can see there's an old movie sign in the bottom and stuff like that. I think that theater's still in use. This was just in this candy shop. Should have focused on there's like a lot of old like root beer and stuff like that. Should have focused on the closer bottles, but what can you do? I guess. Just a picture of the sign. We were kind of in like this little area, and we stayed there for a little while, and just kind of experimented with some different pictures. There was this water fountain. We tried to get some interesting pictures of the water fountain, so this was just another shot. So right here, this is why I love the D3. These were all shot on the Nikon D3 with either a 35 millimeter f1.4 or a 12 to 24 millimeter super wide f2.8. And it's a very clean file. I think these were all shot at f2 or ISO 200. And it focused really well on that tree, brought out a lot of detail on the tree. This was around Christmas time, kind of, so I guess that's why it was lit up still, and you kind of have the car in the background. I just liked that picture because it was very warm, and it had, it was a nice focus point with the lights. This is a picture that I like a lot. We were actually just walking down the sidewalk, and I saw this, and I basically just took this picture as I walked past. And you can see this was on the 35 f1.4. So this is just like this electrical box or something. And somebody painted the earth, fire, air, water on the bottom, and the palatal green on it, and it looks kind of old, but it looks really cool, and I for some reason I like that, and I like the fact that I also got some of the lights that were in the background. Kind of adds to the photo. And you can see, the really nice 35 millimeter f1.4 has that really nice circular bokeh on it. Bokeh, however you want to pronounce it. There's my friend just this is in that spot that I was talking about earlier, just taking some pictures. You can see a very close focus point, so the circles are getting really, really big. Once again, kind of creepy looking. Again, let's go through these. That was a little blurry, that one. Well, I have a lot of these in here. I didn't realize that. Alright, so this wasn't just a window. Took that, kind of interesting. I saw the sign. I thought it would be kind of cool to take a picture of. This is the last one. This is just a skate shop by where we'd parked the car when we were walking back, and just thought the lighting was kind of cool on the skateboards. I had been in this skate shop a lot. I've bought basically all my skateboards from them, but I thought it just looked kind of cool with the decks. They're nice wooden decks, so I thought they shined the light kind of interestingly. But you can see how some of the reflections off the glass are getting in there. So that's the end of that one. I was actually thinking that was the end, but I have more. So we go back, and this one is actually taken the next night or 2 nights later. Next night, yeah. So this was, I don't like how Smug Mug does that. So this just was San Francisco. This is not all through San Francisco. We only stopped at 2 spots. We did not have a lot of time. We spent about an hour at this first stop. This was Christie Fields. This was by, if any of you know the San Francisco area and Christie Fields. So by the Golden Gate, there's the warming hut and there's a little hill. We basically went on that little hill, and took pictures through San Francisco and a little bit of Oakland. So as you can see, there's San Francisco, just black and whited, I guess black and whited. I don't know. You know, gave it a nice feel. The water looks really nice and everything, with the light shining off the water. So this was originally, when it was in color, a super, super overexposed shot of the Golden Gate. And what I did is I brought it down, I brought the highlights down a little bit to try and make those lights softer, and then, excuse me, and then I just made it black and white, which didn't make it as overexposed looking, and I kind of thought it was kind of interesting, because it's a really light polluted area, San Francisco. But the interesting thing is, once you're out at Christie Fields, it actually gets quite a bit darker, and the sky gets really nice looking. Not super, and it's kind of only directly over your head, where there isn't many lights, because really, at that point, around the mountain, there's, not much, and then you hit Half Moon Bay, and then you can kind of cruise along there, and it's not a whole lot of cities. On the other side, there isn't much either. So it does get kind of dark, and, it's kind of interesting to see all those stars up there, despite the fact that it is such a light polluted area, which, obviously, that's probably like a 4-second exposure at a higher ISO. It's pretty noisy. Well, it's relatively noisy. The D3 performs okay with noise, and you can see I have a little dust bunny there. But it could do better. The D4 does really, really well. Then the red dragon sensor is incredible. You can put it at like ISO 6000, barely any noise shows up. So this is another shot of San Francisco. In color, this looks really nice. It gives it a nice warm feel. It was pretty cold that night though, but it did give it a nice warm feeling. It was a beautiful night out there. You can see some stars up there. Obviously, you're not going to see many in through here. It's so light polluted, but you can see, I guess that's Orion's belt right there. I think so. This is a slightly blurred shot, once again, of the Golden Gate, but better exposure. And here's another shot. Good exposure. Little overexposed, but you can see the stars and everything. See the light shining off the water. There's the warming hut right there, if you know what I'm talking about. This is just a closer up shot of the Golden Gate. You can see a little bit of blur. I didn't have a remote shutter. I just tried to pack really light. Brought 2 lenses. I brought 3 lenses and my camera basically, and a tripod. So this was all shot on a tripod, but I still didn't have a remote release. All right, this shot I like. This is probably relatively low ISO, no more than 800. This is just of, excuse me, I just got up, so I'm a little tired. So anyway, so I like the reflections off the water and everything. You can see all the lights over in Oakland on the left there, and then San Francisco on the right. You can see the new Bay Bridge right in the center. Underneath the moon kind of almost shines like it's the Bay Bridge signing off of it. Bay Bridge is pretty lit up at this time. Another shot of Golden Gate. Won't really go through that. This is a good exposure for it. Another shot of San Francisco. We were here for a while, so shots got a little repetitive. This is a little bit lower exposure time. You see the light in the water looks really nice. Also, that if you see, let me take my mouse. That little dot. We were trying to figure out what that thing was forever, and it was a whale. And I had my big lens on. I was zooming into it, and it kind of went away and kind of like moved over, and then it kind of like came back and then went all the way out. And when we came back like over in here, we figured out it was a whale that had swam into the harbor, or not harbor, but into the bay, and so that was kind of interesting. But it swam kind of back over there, I think, and when it was over, I didn't get a picture of it, but my friend did. I don't have it on here. When it went under the Golden Gate, it came back over. Just my friend, kind of an interesting expression. I was trying to get some shots where you can see like parts of San Francisco, but with them taking pictures, kind of. So here's a better one. There's another one. The next one after this is when I made this picture black and white. I find that a word on black and white. I find that black and white. I guess now just kind of stop and discuss things for a little bit. I guess black and white, I think, helps a lot of night shots. You can get a really interesting feel with black and white. A lot of photographers use black and white in their night pictures. It tends to be slightly less or slightly more forgiving than keeping it in color. You can get rid of a little bit of noise with that. You can so like these lights won't seem as bright when you do that. Things like that. So this shot was just of my friend getting his camera set up. He uses a film camera. I think that's a Nikon N1, N10, something like that. N100. It's not an N100. I know that. Or F100. Sorry, it's an F10. Yeah. And then he just got like a old like mini moto or something like that. But anyway, so this is him getting his camera set up in San Francisco. As you can see, the Bay Bridge right there, and this is just on this pier near Pier 31, but not totally. Just kind of interesting. You can see all the graffiti there. It was a nice and clear shot. You can see the pier going down. Him getting it set up with all the Bay Bridge. So there's like a lot of activity. You see the people right there, and then he's just kind of like in this little like world setting up his camera, which he does do that. Just that picture in black and white, as you can see, it just for some reason I think with a lot of my shots when I made them black and white, it made it look a little better. It was a bit more forgiving on me. Just the Bay Bridge here, you can see the water is super, super clear. That's what's nice about having these, kind of professional cameras. The D3 is an older professional camera, but it still is a very, very nice camera. They still make the D3S and D3X bodies that are very expensive. The water's nice and clear. You can see everything. Now these like little lines, like these dark areas in the lights, that was because when I took this picture, the Bay Bridge was actually an art installation. They were using it as an art installation. So some artists came in and put, I don't know how many millions of LEDs on here, all the fans, or all the wires. And what was happening, like these things were like moving along on the wires here, and kind of it would change, and you get like a stripe going all the way across, and it was pretty interesting to watch, but it did make the photo look a little messed up. Here is the ferry building. You can see just the top of it. You can see some of the buildings in San Francisco. Nice lit up, nice warm looking. I have some better pictures of it, but that was kind of the first one I got. Bay Bridge again. Bay Bridge. I'll skip through these. This is just this old ferry. I thought it looked kind of nice looking. Or not ferry. Well, I guess it's ferry. Looks really nice. Kind of has that interesting look to it. Nice warm picture. That's the nice thing about shooting the city. It's a lot of those like nice warm lighting, so you can get some interesting stuff. This one I like, as you can see, just kind of captured him in his moment, which is what I like. I'm not much of a person that does like street photography, like you just like walk up to somebody and start taking pictures of them. Actually, at Halloween, we were handing out candy at the other guy's house, the one that has a film camera, and he does too. That's a Canon T70, we were taking pictures of the sky, doing some night writing. Whose one friend lives it's a interesting. It's a very active. It's this road's kind of like almost famous for like its trick or treating. We had, I think, counted like 1,500 people come through. Uh, and there's a lot of people, but it's kind of up in the mountains, so you can get. So the sky was kind of dark, and it was really cool. You can get a lot of really nice sky pictures from it, which I actually might go to in a little bit. But anyway, we were trying to do night rating and stuff, and we were taking pictures. And what we wanted to do is I had the camera kind of set up, and when a group of kids would walk through, I would do a long exposure. And for some reason, the long exposures weren't totally working out. A lot of kids didn't have enough lights with them to really make it work. You're more just getting like maybe a dark streak going through, and just the light from kind of like his house and stuff. And one guy came over and smacked my camera on the ground, thinking that I was like doing like rapid fire shots of his kids, and I ended up showing him the photos, and I'm just like, you won't see anybody in it. So I don't really feel like, and then we had another guy to say, and it was even more interesting because this was when the cameras were pointed in the sky. He came and said, the cameras are you shouldn't have cameras out taking pictures of us. And I explained to him, we're not taking pictures of you, we're taking pictures of the sky. And, anything, it just seemed like parents got very worried, even though the cameras weren't really doing anything. And it was only my camera as well. So I just don't like kind of creeping people out by shoving a camera in their face, really. Just the ferry building, black and white, little bit of shake on there, a little bit of blur. This is the Bay Bridge again. It's getting a little repetitive. I'm sorry, guys. So here we go. This is kind of an interesting shot. So what I did is I used the double exposure, and this might be kind of cool to experiment with at night. I think it works quite well at night. During the day, it gets a little bit interesting. But this was using a double exposure. So there's a double exposure feature on the D3. On the D3, you can do up to 3 pictures for your double exposure. I guess for a triple exposure. And that's similar to what people used to do on film. And actually, I got the idea because my one friend that has the Nikon film camera, he said, and did I say that the one was a Nikon T70? I did. It is a Canon T70, if I said that. And he basically said, okay, I'm going to do a double exposure. So that originally started in film. They would take a picture, but they wouldn't crank it. They would get the shutter ready to go, but they wouldn't move to the next piece of the film. And they just take another picture, and it would double expose the image. So this is what's similar to do on digital. Digital's a little easier because you see what you're doing. But I took a picture of the ferry building. Yes, I believe the ferry building was no. Let me try and think about this. I'm sorry. I believe that the water was first and the ferry building was second. And I didn't place it totally perfectly, but I tried to place it in between those 2 streaks in the water. And here's that in color, as you can see. So that's the end of it, guys. I guess I'll go through just quickly. There's not as many pictures. This is getting a little bit repetitive. But I'll go through quickly the photos. This is from Halloween night, as you can see. I kept taking pictures, despite the fact that... So you can see these are only like 2-second exposures. All the stars up there. Looks really nice. And then I guess we're moving along here. We had this pumpkin on the stand. For some reason, we put the dog toy under it, and we thought it looked kind of creepy. But anyway, yeah, there's this pumpkin on, not a stand, a chair. Wider shot. This was at 12. This is on the 12-24 super wide, and this is at 12 on at f 2.8. A little bit of lens flare going through there. Kind of interesting with the way the trees in the house are there. I guess we moved right back out unless something's messed up. I think something's messed up with the order. But, so, this is out. Excuse me. I'm tired. So this is out at, there's this bridge by his house, kind of, and you can see, it is kind of up in the mountains a little bit. He's kind of up there. There's a little bit of a walk to get here, but just this. There's like this little road, and there's a overpass, or I guess the road's an underpass. But I don't know. Or yes, an overpass. Um, and just trying to get some really nice like streaks with the cars going through. Now, all the cars were coming this way to get home, but no cars were coming that direction to go, because that direction. So that direction where you can see the red line is basically to where everybody works, and this direction is going back, so everybody's coming home. So there weren't many. We tried to get some. Alright, so now it's back there. So this is where you can see the night riding. So people would walk through there to go trick-or-treating. So you can see there's my friend standing there, but then just night riding. I love the idea of this. His house seemed to be just perfect. He threw this on a 30-second exposure, and it was just perfect for taking these pictures. I mean, it looked really warm. There was the really nice warm light there, a nice warm light there, and it just lit up the whole area, and then kind of darkened out, and then you see the HPP, meaning higher perspective photography, which is like what I call this company. And I think I have that domain registered. So anyway, so you can I just really liked how those came out. His house seemed to have really nice lighting for this for that exposure at a very low ISO. This is 200, so you can see it's a very, very clean file. This is probably I guess now this isn't one of my absolute favorite pictures. When I took it, it was my favorite picture ever that I'd ever taken. I do still really like it because this is on that overpass, and there's this little. We don't stop there much anymore, but we used to always stop there in like 7th, 8th grade. This little like ice cream and breakfast and lunch place, kind of like not diner, but interesting place. Has really good food, and we kind of like interesting. So that it kind of gives more of a feel to me of kind of like this kind of like old style like hangout spot. That place has been there forever, but it kind of like this old style hangout spot more than it would to somebody just looking at the photo. But you can see kind of like this is probably 10 o'clock at night, and kind of like it's very calm. The tree didn't move, and this was like 3-second exposure, so I guess it's not big, but the trees like very nice looking, and everything looks very calm, and then you just have these kind of like two, like if I were to take the cars out, I think it would be a very calm looking picture, and then you just have these two cars, so it gives this like kind of like stopped like nighttime feel, but then with still like the kind of like hustle and bustle of a town going through it. That might be the last picture, guys. Yep. So anyway, so that's all of my night shots, I think, at this point. And really thanks a lot for watching this. I know it was a little long, but I basically wanted to go through some of my night shots and talk about kind of what I liked about them, some of the things that I look for in a nice looking night shot and everything. So once again, just some tips for taking night shots. Bring a tripod. If you're going to do a really long exposure and you don't have a really nice tripod, I have a relatively nice tripod, so it wasn't a huge problem. But bring a shutter release. And just, experiment with your ISO. Get it to a nice spot where you're not getting a super noisy file, but it still looks good. Experiment with exposures. Don't be afraid to, put the thing on the tripod, throw it out on exposure for 3 seconds. You'll get streaks in the cars, but you'll have everything else be still, and it'll look kind of interesting. So, basically just, you kind of got to experiment. Night shots are a little bit of a different challenge than just taking pictures in the day, because you have to deal with the fact that the camera can only take in so much light. And if you move at all, you're getting a blurry image. So I really like taking night shots. I'm really sorry, guys. I'm tired. Really like taking night shots, and it's kind of an interesting thing to do. Kind of after school, go out and take some night shots. So that's it, guys. Thanks a lot for watching.